and welcome back to your free piano lessons. My name is Livia and this is lesson 4 of my free course here on YouTube that's going to show you how to play piano from the very beginning. If you missed the first 3 lessons, click up here, it'll take you back to lesson 1 so you can start from the beginning. For today we've got a lot of information to go over. We're going to learn everything about reading sheet music and you'll get to play your first song without the letters. Let's get started. Alright, let's get started. We are starting off on page 28 of your books today where we're going to get acquainted with all of the little pieces that we need to be able to read our sheet music. So the first part of this, if you look up here, these 5 lines that you have are called the staff. They're basically, it's just where all of your notes are going to exist in your music. So if you look down here, we can have notes sitting on any of these lines where it's got the line going through the middle of the note is called a line note. Or you can have space notes where the note is in between 2 lines. You also can have notes go above or below the staff, but we won't see that for a little while. Then in piano is kind of a unique instrument. We're going to use 2 staves instead of just 1. A lot of other instruments will use just 1 staff because both of your hands are kind of working together to make 1 note, versus piano, we do a lot of different things at the same time. So we have 2 staves. The top one is going to be for your right hand, the bottom one is for your left hand. And then they're connected by this little brace over here. So the other thing that we have, if we look over on this side, is the bass clef and the treble clef. So the bass clef is this one right here. It's telling us that we're playing low things on the piano. So from this is like the middle-ish of my piano right here. Anywhere from here down to the bottom is usually going to be playing the bass clef. Then anything from around the middle to the high end of the piano is going to be for the treble clef. So this is the treble clef here. This is the bass clef. This one, the bass clef, usually is for your left hand since your left hand tends to be lower on the piano. And then the treble clef will usually be your right hand since the right hand tends to be higher up on the piano. So then they're just giving you a representation down here of what all of these notes can look like. So the important one for right now is this middle C right here that kind of sits in the middle. It's got this little line going through it, but it gets its own line. It's not actually on the staff. It's in between both of the staves. So that one's important. That's going to be one of the first notes that we end up learning. And then you can just look through here. They're showing you where all of the letters are and where they go on the staff. You don't have to actually remember all of these because they're only going to start giving you a couple of notes at a time. So you don't have to remember where all of these go, but they're just showing you what it would look like and how they go kind of up in the order of the alphabet. So take a look at that and kind of get acquainted with that, and then it'll help you as we start learning our notes and things. So then if we flip over to the next page, this is page 30, then now we're going to learn about one more new thing, which is going to be time signatures. So a time signature, we've talked about measures before, where a measure is just splitting up your music into kind of smaller sections like this. So the time signature is just giving you a little bit more information about the song that you're playing. It's not really going to change the way that you play the song. It just is giving you some more information. So the top 4 up here is going to tell you how many beats are in a measure. So if it's a 4 on top, you've got 4 beats per measure. Then the 4 on the bottom is telling you that a quarter note gets 1 beat, which we already know that. We've talked about that before, how a quarter note gets just 1 beat. But eventually that can change and you can have different notes get just 1 beat. So that can change later. It's not going to change anytime in the near future though, so you don't really have to worry about that one too much yet. The main important one for the moment is the top number, which tells you how many beats are in a measure, because that will change. So if you look over here, this is an example of what 4/4 looks like, where if I count any of the, let me grab a pencil. If I count any of the beats in any of these measures, starting from the beginning, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bar lines. Now this is a new measure. A half note gets 2 beats. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Then bar line. Dotted half note gets 3 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then bar line. And then a whole note gets all 4, so that's in a measure by itself. So that's how 4/4 looks. Even though all of these measures look different, they do all still have 4 beats in them. And then they're giving you an example down here that you can practice with, where you're just going up and playing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, a bunch of times just to kind of see where all of the notes are on the staff. The only thing that's new with that is this accent mark right here, which is just telling you that you're playing that one note a little bit louder than everything else around it. So that is new. But you're welcome to give this a try if you'd like. There's another one over on this side that goes through the same notes, but we're in 3/4 this time. So up here, this is our 3/4. We have now, since the top number is a 3, we have 3 beats in a measure. The bottom number is still 4, which is still telling us that a quarter note gets 1 beat. Like I said, that's not going to change anytime soon. So for our current purposes, it's always a 4 on the bottom. Then we're going through the same kind of thing here where you can see an example of what 3/4 looks like. So we've got our 3/4 over here. If we look at our beats now, this is 1, 2, 3, bar line, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now we only have 3 beats in a measure, but otherwise everything is about the same. It's just changing the way that it looks. It will change the way it sounds a little bit, but otherwise you're playing all of the notes and things the same. It just is structurally a little bit different. So that, I believe, is all of the new stuff. Then if you flip over to the next page, then these are going to be our first songs for this week. So they're asking you over here to write in the time signature that you have. You can see we've got our treble clef and our bass clef over here, so we are using the actual staff this time. We still have the letters for now, but that'll change in a minute. So up here, all of these notes that I have up here, they're in the treble clef, they're in the top staff, which means that we're playing them with our right hand. The only note in this first line that I'm playing with my left hand is this B right here, because this one is in the bass clef, right? Then if we look over the second line, same thing, all of this is the right hand. It switches to the left hand here, and then I'm back to the right hand. So you'll have to be a little bit careful with that. It takes a minute to get used to that. Then you can take a look up at the top. They'll tell you where your hands are going. I'll also show you that in just one second. Then with the time signature, I want you to take a look at this song and see if you can figure out what the time signature is. The options are only 4/4 or 3/4. Those are the only 2 it could be. But take a look, figure out how many beats are in each measure here, and take a guess on what you think the time signature is. I'll give you a couple seconds here, and then I'll write it in. Okay, so the time signature in this one is 4/4, because if you look at any of these measures, this is beat 1, 2, 3, 4. This is beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. They all have 4 beats. So I'm going to write this in here. The time signature goes just like that, so 4, 4, and then I'm also going to write it in the bass clef. It goes in both of them. So that's where the time signature lives in a song. It goes in the beginning part, and then they don't have to rewrite it when you get to a new line. It just stays the same. Then let's take a look, before we start playing these, let's take a look at the rest of these as well. Look at this one over here. See if you can figure out the time signature in this one. So this one is in 3/4. So our dotted half notes here get 3 beats. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So this is going to be 3/4, which I'll write in just like that. All right, then this last one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this one is also 3/4. So I'll write that one in too. Okay. So those are all of our time signatures in this one. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Yankee Doodle will be the first one that we do for today. So let me set this up here. All right, so for this one, I'm going to put my right thumb on middle C right here. My left thumb is going to go on B right next to it. So these are the notes that I'm using right here. And then we're just following, you're playing it pretty much just like you did with the last songs that you did last week. We're just following the letters, nothing really new there. It just looks a little bit different this time, but otherwise it's the same. We also are playing this one. This is all forte, so everything we play is going to be nice and loud. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. Feel free to follow along. All right, and that is the first song that you have for this week. So the next song, the Row, Row, Row Your Boat that you have over on the next page, they actually have only given you half of this song. So then they want you to try and figure out what the other half is. So you just will have to kind of mess around with the notes a little bit and see if you can figure out what sounds right is the way that you'll go about this. So your hands are in the same spot for this one. I'll play you the first half that they have written, and then we'll see if you can figure out the rest on your own this week. And then that's all they gave you. So we'll see if we can figure out the rest. Then for the bottom one here, Clock Tower Bells, we have one new thing in this one, which is going to be the pedal mark. So with the pedal mark, we're going to use the pedal for the first time today. Depending on what piano or keyboard you have, you might have just one pedal, you might have 2 or 3. It just depends. If you have one pedal, then that pedal is going to be the one that you're using. If you have multiple, it's always going to be the one on the right is the one that we're using. The other ones we don't need at the moment. So anytime I talk about the pedal, it's that pedal on the right if you have multiple of them. So for this one, we're going to be holding down the pedal the entire time. That's what the little mark down here is for. That little bracket underneath the song is telling you that you're using the pedal. So my hands once again are in the same spot, and then I'm going to hold the pedal down this time. All it's going to do with the pedal, if I hold the pedal down and play something, even when I don't have my hands on it, it still continues to play it, right? Then when I take the pedal off, it stops. Normally when I play something, as soon as I take my hands off, it stops, right? So the pedal just makes your notes sustain longer, even if you're not holding them. So I'm going to show you what this one sounds like too. This is with the pedal. And there we go. All right, so those are going to be your first few for this week. We're only going to get one more, which is going to be the first one that does not have the letters in it. So I would pause here and kind of get comfortable with these songs a little bit first, and then when you're ready, we'll move on to the next one. All right, so I'm on page 34 now. We are using, for the first time, we're taking away the letters, so we have to read our notes. We have a couple more new things on this page, so we are going to get some practice with just 4 notes at a time today. We're going to learn B, C, D, and E, and that's it. So if you look at the little chart on your page right here, they're telling you where all of those notes are. So middle C, again, is the one that isn't really on the staff at all. It's kind of in between, and it's got that line on just that one note. That's C, which in this one, we're actually going to play with your thumb this time. So my left thumb is going to be on middle C. Then my right thumb is going to go on D. So these are my 4 notes that I have. I have B, C, D, and E. Those are the 4 notes. So if you look over on the left side of the page here, we're going over seconds again, which if you recall from either last week or the week before, a second is just any 2 notes that are right next to each other, like this, or like this, or like that, where they're right next to each other. So on the staff, this is kind of helpful because A step is always going to go from a line note to a space note, or a space note to the next line note. So they're always opposites, and then that's how you can tell it's a second. So you can use that to help you read your notes. If you know, I've just played a C, and then my next note is going just a second down, then I know it's B because I just played C, and that's a second below C, right? So you can use that to kind of help you figure out your notes, which is really helpful. So before you play this bottom part right here, the warm up with seconds, they're giving you the option to write the note names in the blanks underneath the notes, which I would do so you can get some practice kind of naming the notes before you go through the song. So pause this here for a second, write in your note names, and then I'll tell you what they are so you can check your work. All right, so the note names for the warm up with seconds are going to be, starting from the beginning, this is C, B, C, D, E, D, E, D, C, B, C. All right, so now that we've got that, we're gonna put our hands here again. So again, my thumbs are on C and D, and then this is what it sounds like. And then I have a repeat sign, so I'm going to play it again, but piano. All right, there we go. So that's going to be a little practice one for this week. It should be a fairly easy one since it's so short, but I would work on that and kind of get comfortable with the notes first before you do this next one that we're about to do. So then if you look on page 35, this is the first real song that we have that does not have the letters. So we're using the same 4 letters as you just did, so there's nothing new there. We do have a little bit of pedal in this one. If you look in measures 7 and 8, there's a pedal mark right there. And then we also have one other new thing, which is the tie. If you look up at the top of the page, there's a little box that tells you about that. So the tie is just that little line that's connecting 2 notes that happens in the last 2 whole notes that you play in this song. Those 2 are tied together. So instead of playing 2 whole notes like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, instead they're going to get tied together. So I'm just going to hold it for like 1 super long note, which is going to get 8 beats because it's just combining the 2 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that's it. So that's the only new thing with this one. We do have a couple of dynamic changes in this one. So we're starting off mezzo forte, which if you recall is medium loud. Then in measure 7, we're coming down to piano, which is soft, for just a couple of notes, and then it's going to come back up to mezzo forte. So those are all of the big things with this one. Then as you're practicing this, you can go through and like say the letters out loud, or before you play it, say the letters or something so you can remember them a little bit easier. That does make it so much easier to recall your notes as you're trying to play them. So I'm going to show you what this one sounds like. Again, my hands are in the same spot as they were just in. And we're starting on my first note there is a B. All right, and that's it. So that's the last song that you have for today. So we've got kind of a lot of stuff to be doing this week. We've got on the other pages, Yankee Doodle, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Clock Tower Bells. And then on these 2 pages, we've got the Warm Up with Seconds and Catch a Falling Star. So remember, you can take as much time on these songs as you need to. The goal is to have them be nice and smooth and have them feel easy before you really move on to the next part. So I would maybe work with the first 3 songs that still have the letters, work on those first, and then once those feel easy, then you can move on to these ones that you have here that do not have the letters. That's how I would do it, just so you don't have to practice a million things all at once. But we'll see how it goes for this week. So those are all of your things, and then, you know, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how your practicing goes. All right, guys, that is all the information that I have for you today. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, and make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future lessons. I'll see you guys in the next one.